So here we are, as promised. I'm gonna test out how 5 ways are, how good my character is in it, if I need to change anything, what the profit is like. So as you see, I'm pretty much out of money. We did buy 10 sets, so the first test, I suppose, will be we're doing 10 rounds, seeing how good the character handles it and if changes need to be made. On top of that, I'll also keep track at XP, so we're level 88, 70% just about. I'll probably die here and there though. So I prepared 2 dump tabs. We'll put all the loot in here, and afterwards we'll sort it together and see how much money we made. So before we get into the loot, I have a bit of footage of a 5-way run I was doing while I talk a bit about 5 ways. So for the people who don't know what 5 ways are, these refer to the Legion runs, which you need the emblems to run them. 5-way just is the highest one of them. You can run from 2 emblems all the way up to 5, scaling in difficulty. So 5 ways have a zone level of 84 and they have all 5 bosses in there, and you can also expect the most reward from these. So what build do you need? The build I'm currently using is pretty good at them. I've tested it out now for quite a few runs. There's still a few gems I can upgrade, like Awakened Chain would go a long way in here, but the build is doing pretty good. Since there's a lot of rare monsters spawning in here, you usually rely upon Headhunter and Inspired Learnings. Previous leagues with Self Curse, this was really good in here, simply to keep the duration of your Headhunter since you're so reliant upon it. While there are builds that can do it without Headhunter, generally you will get a lot less reward without it. So you want to have a build that at least can take advantage of Headhunter and even a couple of Inspired Learnings if you can fit them in. And you also want a decent amount of single target. Of course, you're pretty reliant upon the Headhunter buffs, but if you have a decent single target to begin with already, and that will definitely speed up the bosses. So for the rewards, now in here you can pretty much at the end, after the timer runs out, you'll have a massive loot explosion, depending on how many rows of reward you got. On top of that, you can also get jewels, the timeless jewels, which drop from the bosses. So the amount of bosses you kill definitely scales how many jewels you will get. On top of that, there's also Legion specific uniques that you can get, with the 2 most rare and expensive ones being the Darkscorn and the Asenath's Gentle Touch, which are both 4 exalts each. And they are quite rare though. From personal experience, I can easily go 10 to 20 runs without getting one, but then again, it is RNG after all. And the possibilities for loot are endless. You can get influenced items, you can get any other item from other leagues, you can even drop Headhunter in theory in here. You can even have Kadiro from Perendus League spawn in here and sell you an item, so you can get absolutely everything and anything in here. So the main reason to do 5 ways, well, usually it is loot, but nowadays the loot is not too great anymore, as it has been in previous leagues. But the main thing of 5 ways is XP. So as you will see how much XP I got from only 10 runs already, but this is one of the fastest way to level in Path of Exile. While there is a lot of trading involved to it, simply just doing the runs alone does give a lot of XP per hour. On top of that, you get a lot of gem XP as well, so that definitely can be put into your profits, so do not neglect that. Before lastly we go into the profit, I want to give a disclaimer. This is just a sample size of 10 runs, which is very low. Even doing a 100 run sample size is just a general feel of the loot you can expect in here, but by no means is this how much money per hour you will make, or money per set even. Since the loot, it's very RNG based, of course. I could have easily gotten some more big items or smaller items, and the loot would vary massive amounts, so keep that in mind when you do these. And another thing I also want to mention is that while 5 ways, they're pretty good and the XP is pretty fast, so especially if you haven't done them before, they are pretty fun to do, but they can get boring pretty fast, since first of all, you can't really interact with the league mechanic, so you have to give up that since you're not mapping. Second of all, there's a lot of trading involved, not only in buying the sets, but also in terms of selling the rewards you get, since most of it will be in smaller items. So keep that in mind when you do this, and let's get on to the loot. So we have finished sorting out all the loot after running all the sets, of course, and we've price checked everything, but I'm gonna go over it with you. So this is the loot we got from those 10 runs. So we got like pretty much on average on the jewels. You supposedly need to average about half the jewels from the sets you run, depending of course how good your build is doing in them. We did get 2 Morohi Urki, which is pretty much coming in with most of the profit. Since this league are actually 2 exalts each, so that's a very nice. We didn't get any gloves or ore bricks, which is unfortunate, but they are quite rare indeed, so it's pretty easy to go 10 sets without any of them. I've had so plenty in the past. And then as you can see, the majority of the money is going to be in all these small items to sell. So I'm going to open the notepad so you can go with me. So first of all, influenced items. These are the influence bases we got that are worth something. So this is the total of pretty much everything here. Next up are the normal bases. So the zone, it mainly drops I-86 items. It does drop I-84 occasionally too, but the majority of the stuff is I-86. So the crystal belts are 65 C each. You can see the rest if you're curious. And we got Stygian vices over here. Then the small stuff, well, it's pretty much the bulk of the stuff. So in currency we got 614 chaos. That is also because we got 1 exalt actually. And then just the rest adds up. Fossils, 120 chaos. Did not include the essences, since most likely these will not sell, and if they do, they're not worth very much. I did include the fossils though. The scarabs, I only included the bigger ones. We got 2 gilded legion. We got 1 gilded legion. We got 2 gilded sulfites. So those are 24 kills each. So pretty much only the big scarabs here. And cards, 155 kills. This is the only card I got that's worth something. We did get a lot of other cards, but I did not include those since they're pretty worthless cards. And then the rest of the money comes from all the stacked decks we got, and we got 94. And then incubators, I only included the bigger ones, so the geomancers, this time lost, and the thaumaturgies. So we did get some enchanted and diviners and ornate, which are the only ones on my filter. If I included all the incubators, I probably would have had half a quad stash full of incubators in just those runs. They dropped them a lot, but these are the main ones worth anything. So all this comes out to 1,141 chaos. And then the random items, of course, you can drop everything in here. So we got a few fragments here. A level 21 LA hit, a level 3 enhance, unfortunately not an empower or enlighten, which would have been worth a lot more. Prophecy, I mean a few unique items and a few maps, so I listed everything here. Like I said, 4 exalts for these 2 malls. Then maps, I didn't include the tier 11 and 12 maps since most likely I don't really sell them and they're not worth very much. Did include all the other maps, even though again they will be pretty hard to sell, but they're there since they're worth quite a bit still. Tier 14 plus are still 10 chaos, and tier 13 are at least 5 chaos. And then the jewels, so for these I know that the lowest price possible for all of them, so of course you can test these out yourself. Maybe some of them are good, but it's pretty hard to sell ones with good rules since there's no way that the buyer can tell unless taking your word for it. So they're pretty hard to sell. And especially the militant fates. Now these could be more, since for militant fates to price check them you actually have to look at the explicit rolls. So for this one, all elemental resistance plus per 10 devotion, I know that this one will definitely be worth more than 10 chaos, but for the price check I just put the lowest price, since of course you can't control which ones you do get every run. So after adding everything up, we came to a total of 4,800 chaos, which is equivalent to 24.6 exalts. So at current prices, with our 14 exalts for the sets, we would profit 10.6 exalts. Now mind you, this is if everything in this tab sells for the prices, which is a big task. It's a lot of items to trade. Even the currency, you would need to convert everything to chaos. Now of course, say you've done 100 or 200 runs, then you would have most of these items in bulk, so the fossils, the scarabs and all that, so it would be easier to sell, but still it would take a lot longer of time to sell and sort everything than the time it takes to run the sets. So keep in mind that while it looks like, oh, just 10 sets, that takes 50 minutes to run, you still do lose a lot of time in terms of looting, sorting your stats, selling items, which is the majority of the time. So in my opinion, for about 1 exalt per run profit, I do not think it's worth running 5 ways, not even close. But then again, I could have got unlucky. Who knows? This is after all only 10 runs, so it's a very small sample size. The other thing, as you can see, I'm now level 94, so I went from level 88 all the way to 94 in just 10 runs. Of course the XP will fall off at the higher 90s, but 5 ways are one of the faster ways to level in Path of Exile. And coming with that is of course gem XP. Now I didn't get other gems since I finished these quite fast, but I need to go on my miner to level them to 20 and vault them. But of course that's something not to be neglected, because you will make a lot of money from leveling gems in there, especially awakened gems or just normal gems. So if you're a build that has a lot of free gem slots, excuse me, then of course you will make a lot of money from leveling gems, and that's probably equivalent to the money you make otherwise, if not more. So just take gem prices, because you can definitely add a lot more to this profit. And then obviously it goes without saying, if you get lucky you get an Arborix or Gentle Touch. I think they're about 4 exalts each now, so those can of course skew your profit a lot as well. So that was it for this test of 10 5-way runs. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, make sure you put them in the comment section, and I hope that this video helped you in seeing if 5-ways are worth doing for you.